Thanks for joining us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And we are coming to you from those studios provided by First Star Logistics as well. And we're coming to you with a guest that is a football lifer. Solomon Wilcots played the game at an exceptionally high level, broadcast the game at an exceptionally high level, podcaster extraordinaire. He does it all. And he's going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys football game. What are the Bengals looking at there? It's a different Dallas football team without Dak Prescott at quarterback, but they had lost 5 straight games. Well, now they're on a 2-game winning streak, 2-game division winning streak. They beat Washington in Washington with Jaden Daniels. They beat the Giants in Dallas. Glad they did, because, man, they hadn't won a home football game until that Giants win. I didn't want the Dallas Cowboys to be 0-for at home before the Cincinnati Bengals went down there to play. So we're going to talk about that, and then we get into a lot of old stories about our experiences with the Cincinnati Bengals organization in general, both from a playing standpoint and a broadcast standpoint. Hope you enjoy it. All right, Casali, let's look ahead a little bit. Dallas Cowboys. I mean, you got to tip your cap to Mike McCarthy. I mean, you look at Dallas and you say, all right, well, this is it. Mike McCarthy. The handwriting's on the tombstone. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys. They lost 5 games in a row. They won 3 out of 5. They were 3-2 5 games in. Then they lose 5 in a row, and he loses his quarterback. All he does is win 2 division games in a row at Washington and against the New York Giants at home. And, you know, he's kind of morphed. He doesn't have, Dax anymore playing quarterback. So he's got Rush, and he knows Rush very well. Rush has been around forever. Right? He's got an offense for Rush to execute. And the defense has picked it up a little bit. I'm not saying that they're fighting for a playoff berth, but now you find out, like Joe Burrow was talking about, now you find out who the professionals are.
That's right.
Because everybody's watching. All the scouts, all the GMs, everybody's watching. Fellow players, everybody's watching. Who's the guy that's going to fold their tent? Who's the guy that's going to play hard? Dallas Cowboys, hey, they're still going to play hard. They've shown they're going to play hard. Mike McCarthy has not lost that locker room.
No, and you're right. You find out in these games where you're seemingly eliminated. You seemingly don't have anything to play for, but yeah, you do. How about personal pride? How about playing for your teammates, playing for your coaching staff? How about playing for the organization who's invested a lot in you?
Yep.
And giving you this opportunity to go out and show what you're all about. It's about, even if you begin to build for next year with the moments you have in games now. I remember years ago, I watched Giovanni Bernard in a meaningless game against Detroit at the end of the year where most guys were sitting it out. They were hurt. And he went out and played like a lion, man. That dude, I was so proud of him. I remember calling him. I said, dude, let me tell you, man, I know people say you guys didn't have nothing. It was like the second to the last game of the year. And I said, I know people think that you didn't have anything to play for. You proved what this game is really all about.
Yep.
Everybody's got something to prove. Everybody's got something to play for. And you just love to see players who don't have to be told. They intuitively know and how to find that thing that makes it important.
Yep.
And I often say to players, what if I told you as a kid, when you said that you wanted to grow up to become an NFL football player, what if I was to tell that 10-year-old kid, one day you're going to not even want to play. One day you're going to want to let everybody else go out and play at the end of the year. You're going to turn it down when you were given the opportunity. That 10-year-old would have said, I would never do that. Then here you are. Here you are faced with that opportunity. I think all of us ought to be able to find that inner kid who always loved playing the game, who always wanted to play, when there wasn't a check involved, and there wasn't pom-poms involved, there wasn't no TV involved. We just wanted to play, right? We need to find that place, and that's what really, I'm telling you right now, that's what really brings it out of you. That's what really makes the game very special. I ask players this every year at the scouting combine. When did you find out you really love the game? And I can listen to their stories, and you can tell that they love it. When you get to the point where you no longer feel that way about it, it is time to walk away. I'm just here to tell you.
You're right.
But when you can answer that question and get excited, that's when you know you still got it in you.
So I'm looking at Chris Jenkins, and I'm saying, hey, you know what? Chris Jenkins, man. This week, you got Zach Martin, all right? Zach Martin's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's probably a first ballot Hall of Famer. This guy's a great player at the guard position. Jenkins is a rookie. I remember I was a young player playing the Dallas Cowboys when they were great.
Yeah.
And they had Bob Lilly. And I had number 74 in high school because of Bob Lilly. I wanted to be a defensive tackle just like Bob Lilly.
That's right.
And I played defensive tackle, but I also played offensive tackle. And, that's the way it ended up going for me. But I love that. And who am I playing? We played the Dallas Cowboys once in my 10-year career. Bob Lilly was the defensive tackle. I was like, are you kidding me? I'm going against my idol. I want to show him I can play. I mean, it was like, I don't want him to laugh at me, man. I want him to, at the end of the game, when we shake hands, say, hey, kid, I mean, you get after that. That's why you play the game, right? I mean, that's why you do it. Period.
It sure
and I was
is.
like, I get up in line of scrimmage the first time, get my stance. I'm like, God, dog, man, that's Bob freaking Lilly. I was like, oh, this is going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, those stories are real, and you're right. Yeah. I think Chris Jenkins should be. I'm sure he's got that mentality. You're going up against a Cowboy team. There's somebody that stands out, that brings it out of you.
Yeah,
I remember we were playing the Jets. And you remember Freeman McNeil, right?
Sure.
I grew up in Los Angeles. Freeman McNeil was LA City Player of the Year, in high school. I'm much younger, but I'm a little kid, like in elementary school, watching him play high school games in Los Angeles. And then he was a teammate of Max Montoya, who could probably tell you, because at UCLA, I watched Freeman McNeil, was phenomenal. He was a great player. So now he's playing for the Jets, and I'm like, I'm free safety. I remember running the alley. I'm coming downhill like a bat out of hell, right? I'm coming. And at the last minute, he saw me because I'm getting ready to take his head off, Dave, and he ducked. He ducked. And I'm flying. I had already left my feet. And man, I think when I hit the ground, I came up with turf burns everywhere. Like I'm like, I was so angry at him.
You were skidding on the ground, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm like, yeah. And so it was like he chickened out or something because, I'm like, McNeil, I must have taught him every name in the book. And he was just smiling on his way because he was like, dude, I'm not going to let you kill me for crying out loud.
He turned it down.
The last minute, corner of his eye, and he ducked. He went right to the ground. I never tackled him. He went straight to the ground.
He turned it down, Solly.
Over him, I get these turf burns, and now I'm angry. And I told him, I said, I just lost respect for you, Freeman McNeil.
Oh man, I'll tell
you, it was something else,
Yep, and I remember in that game, Bob Lilly was cat quick, and we had a defensive tackle, Mike Reed, who I went against as a rookie, was the quickest guy I've ever seen. Mike Reed got me ready to play against, a guy like Bob Lilly because of that short space quickness. We couldn't use our hands and everything. But I'm telling you, man, that first time in pass rush, I'm like, ooh, man, how does that dude that big get from there to there? It's like, I know I didn't close my eyes. Man, what is up? This dude has got unbelievable short space quickness. And then they had explosions. So when they hit you, you're setting a little softer because you got to move, and then they'll come in and explode on you. It's like, what? These guys can do it all, man. It's unbelievable.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, I was a huge Mike Reed fan.
Oh,
people don't realize how great of a Cincinnati Bengals defensive tackle he was.
Yep.
He was phenomenal, and you're right, very similar to Bob Lilly.
Yeah.
Very similar, just an excellent player. His quick, cat-like quickness as a defensive tackle. And Mike Reed, man, we ought to be ringing his name and hearing his name more often around Paycor Stadium. He was a guy that quit at the top of his career to go write songs for Bonnie Raitt in Nashville, Tennessee.
Right.
And he's still there to this day. I looked him up. It was several years ago I looked him up because I wanted to do a story on him. That's how big of a fan I was of his. And I remember asking him, and I said, Mike, you were at the top of your career. You were going to Pro Bowls, and you just quit. You walked away from it all. I said, what happened? He said, there just comes a time when every grown man ought to just think, I no longer want to hit somebody. He said, if that's what you still want to do after becoming a grown man, you ought to really think about your priorities in life.
Tell you, man, my rookie year, I had to go against him every day at practice. And, of course, I had Tiger. Tiger's old school. Hit him. Get after him. This is how you learn to play foot. And Mike Reed, he's like, I hate practice. Don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
I just want to play in the game. Don't touch. He goes, you got muscles in your crap. I don't want you touching me, And this, I'm like, he hated me, man. And but I watched Mike Reed get 5 sacks against Gene Upshaw. I'm like, what?
Hey, he was a great player.
What the
great
heck,
player,
man? But
great player.
He was
and even a better songwriter, right?
Yeah.
And he's a concert pianist, correct?
Yeah, concert pianist. I mean, he performed at Carnegie Hall, man. A solo performance at Carnegie Hall.
Bad dude.
He wrote Inside. He wrote Stranger in My House. I mean, he wrote hits. I mean,
Bad dude.
Yeah.
And one of the great Bengals that we should remember more often. There's no doubt about it.
Crazy.
Great dude.
As are you, Solly. You're one of the great Bengals, man. And I'll tell you what, we said this before. Paul Brown was always, this is a brief moment in your life's work. You're going to go and do other things with your life, and this will prepare you for that. And he was proud of Mike Reed and what Mike Reed accomplished. He'd be unbelievably proud of everything you've done. I mean, everybody that did something that football prepared them for, your life's work after football, whatever that may be, Paul Brown was all about that. And he had a lot of guys that succeeded, man, after football. There's no doubt. And you're a great example, my man.
Those were the expectations. I mean, he made sure he talked to us about that every year at the start of training camp. He let you know that was the priority, and that football was going to open a lot of doors for you, that you should be part of the community here in Cincinnati, and that you needed to invest yourself in your life's work, whatever comes next. This is just the beginning, but he also understood that it was going to be a platform to provide that opening for you. And I can't tell you how many players who I've talked to who played for Paul Brown, whether it was with the old Cleveland Browns, whether it was with the Cincinnati Bengals, whether they were at Ohio State and won a national championship when he coached there.
Yeah.
They all looked at him sort of as the great professor. This guy was so brilliant. Yeah. And he knew the game in and out, but he was just so brilliant in so many ways that I don't know that if the game does enough, even to this day, to honor all what he gave to this game. But for many of us who played for him, we all know it. I remember one of his former players with the Cleveland Browns, Paul Wiggins, who was he was a coach at Stanford, and he coached me when I was with the Vikings. And he came over and he was talking about the old man. I was like, and so he started talking about Paul Brown. We had all these great conversations, and I was blown away with, even as accomplished as Paul Wiggins was, he was still in awe of Paul Brown and spoke so highly of him that I found it was one of the great conversations that I had with anyone about Paul Brown.
Man, I remember, going there, drafted as a rookie, and Paul Brown had an eye for talent, man. And we got Isaac Curtis. I'm looking at Isaac Curtis. I'm like, I've never seen anything like that. And Kenny Anderson throwing it to him, and Mike Reed and Bob Trumpy. They're doing things with a tight end that nobody was doing, And I'm looking around. I'm like, what am I doing here, man? This is unbelievable. Look at all these guys. This is crazy. Yeah. I'm the luckiest guy in the world to just, watch these guys and practice with these guys every day. It was amazing. It really was, man. Crazy.
Yeah, we felt we did. I'm telling you, I felt honored to be drafted by a team that he ran,
Yep.
that he was a part of. And, Eric Thomas and I talk about this all the time, that we sort of fell onto a team that had this cauldron of coaches that were all formidable.
Yep.
Sam Weiss, Dick LeBeau, Dick Seltzer, Jim
Bruce
Anderson, Bruce Coslett,
Yep.
Tiger Johnson.
Yep.
I mean, every single guy, right, could take the whole team and coach the whole team. I mean, and the innovative things that we were doing on both sides of the ball were simply phenomenal. And later, as I look back, all of those things, the run schemes today, we were doing that then.
Yep.
Pass coverage schemes and zone blitz defense, we were doing that then. That's 30 years ago, for crying out loud. We were on the cutting edge of a lot of things that were coming into the NFL, in so much that those things are the primary things that teams are doing today. And the Cincinnati Bengals were doing that, as you well know, in the early and mid to late 80s.
Yep. Yeah, he was ahead of his time. There's no question about that in so many ways. Paul Brown was not just a football genius. The dude was a genius. He, in every sense of the word, special man. As are you, Solly. Appreciate your time as always. You're very generous with it, and it's always one of the great pleasures to talk football with the great Solomon Wilcots.
You're the best, Dave. Thanks for having me. Take care, everyone.
All right. You have a great one, Solly.
All right.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realize self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.